I mean, it's a shame Hisu was talking a lot of sense, but I also think he was talking in possibilities. There's no way you're going to sign like a peace treaty with Earth at this point. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, and we are back with another episode of Space Battleship Yamato. As I've said before, we're rapidly approaching the end of the first season. But, we got a whole other season after this, and then movies, and I think there's another season, and more movies, and then we're doing, like, the reboot stuff. Hell, maybe I'll do the live action thing too. I hear it's bad. Maybe I'll do it. Would be getting a foot in the door doing some live action stuff. Say like the Voltace 5 live action series. I did get through all of Voltace 5 with the idea that I may one day do the live action. I don't know. We'll decide down the road. Future me can pick up that tab. Otherwise, as always, I come with board notes, so let's go ahead and hit up the board, where the board comes to the board changelog, where I added a faction relationship line thing between the boxes on the side of the board to represent the bigger picture. Because always I think I wasn't connecting, say, Iskander to Earth, because I thought the boxes were doing that job. So we just knew that yellow was allied with green. Well, now I have the boxes on the side having the same relationship lines that the characters do, so now we don't have to just know that Iskander and Earth are allies. I've given them a green line. I unfortunately don't know right now how to consider Iskander and Gamilas, given that they're non-violent towards one another, even though they oppose one another, so gave them a white line. I added a purple line between Kodai and Yuki, as that seems pretty obvious that he's hitting on her, and even though like she's like, knocking his hand away, she's also making comments about what their future children would they be telling them. So I just kind of assume. And finally, I connected Starsha and Dessler with a white line. It's the character relationship version of what I just said about the Iskander Gamilas line in the faction area. So yeah, that is the board. I, of course, also have notes about the show. Once again, Shiro is claiming to be the chief engineer. He's the science officer. Tokugawa is the chief engineer. I think, even though later, I didn't make a note about it here, but later on in the episode they call him the chief engine officer or something like that, but he has been the chief engineer since the beginning. They kind of started changing Shiro's title. It might be the standard going forwards that Shiro is the chief engineer now and Tokugawa is some new title, but it's not what I'm holding on to. The more damning thing is that we have an assistant engineer in Yabo. The engineering team is known and consistently being shown. I have no idea why we keep making this slip up. Maybe it's something behind the scenes, like we couldn't afford the voice actor for that much time. Tokugawa's voice actor, I mean. What Starsha said about Iskander's position that I found so confusing was the 8th planet that orbits the sun of the Magellanic Cloud. Well, there's 2 Magellanic Clouds, small and large, and even the small Magellanic Cloud has upwards of over 3 billion stars. So Starsha saying the sun would imply that there's just the one. Yamato has been doing all right thus far when it comes to getting space right, again, for the most part. But this is an egregious misscaling, if I've ever seen one. According to Shima's map, the Gamilas/Iskander system has at least 9 different orbital bodies. Or bodies in orbits. I'm counting orbits, sorry. Making Iskander and Gamilas almost the furthest bodies from their sun. There is a 9th body, or orbital line outside of that, so. The Yamato was never going to defend itself from the missile attack. The missiles were coming in 4 different vectors, and the Yamato was built like an ocean-going vessel. It has no defense from the bottom 2 approaches, nor did Shima or Kodai attempt to rotate the ship to place them in any firing angles. I guess we can just take it for granted that we only saw the Yamato being hit by 2 of those vectors. Ironically, 2 of the vectors that the ship could have hit too, by which I mean it's only from the upper right and upper left, which is exactly where the anti-air and all the main weapons of the Yamato are. The ones that break off and go lower lower right and lower left. There would have been nothing to stop those, and those are the ones that we don't get shown hitting anyway. Honestly, if Gamilas had just used normal weaponry, this would have been the time to take out the Yamato. I do enjoy the crew's misdirect that they think the people of Gamilas might call it Iskander and that they've wandered into the enemy's home. It's a nice little plot line that they do absolutely nothing with. Like, it could have been something, but at this point, it's too late to have another psychological storyline about the crew's trepidation over possibly being tricked by the enemy. They essentially dismiss the concern immediately by having Starsha contact them and tell them everything anyways. If it weren't for the fact that I've gotten so much additional information about why Dessler is blue now and not before, I'd be coming up with all sorts of theories about him being a secret Iskandarian that took over Gamilas or something. As it stands, though, we know that he's just another Gamilas guy. Worth noting that both planets are dying. Gamilas is trying to migrate. Even though they've conquered galaxies, they've chosen Earth out of all of the planets that they've conquered. Iskander is willing to just fade away and die, though. Gamilas' plans for Yamato always fail, I think, because they are ultimately always cartoony in nature. The straightforward military assaults have been the most effective overall. Essentially, this is just like trying to home alone your enemy when you're carrying a gun the entire time. My final note here is that it's been 51 days since the last episode. That's the only reason I'm willing to give the show the benefit of the doubt for Yamato appearing to be fully repaired. I said that was my final note. Obviously, I still have the timeline thing. Since it's been 51 days, as we know, I have listed down that it's either April 27th or April 19th, if episode 21 is correct, where the Yamato gets pulled into the oceans of Gamilas with 164 days left. Sorry, I don't... Yeah, okay. Sorry, I forgot the number of days between the difference of what I believe to be the correct timeline, which, by the way, is April 27th. I believe that's correct, and April 19th is incorrect, but obviously I haven't reached this point where anybody on YouTube is available to correct me. I'm going to put this out there. Obviously, not that I instantly believe any YouTube corrections. I always believe on myself to be right first. But if sufficient proof is leveled against me, then obviously I'll be forced to agree with whatever comments get thrown out there. So, if you think I'm wrong about it being April 27th and it's actually April 19th, prove me wrong. That said, though, nothing left but to see what happens, so let's get on into it.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this, unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
Deadly battle. Oh God, mourn for Gamilas. Sorry, the fact that they throw it out, oh God, makes me think that something eminently terrible is about to happen. Although at the same time, we don't give a shit about Gamilas as a place, specifically because of what the fuck they did to Earth, right? They're kind of like in an unforgiving format when it comes to that, especially all the episodes we saw of how suffering the people of Earth are, specifically the families of the crew. So I don't think there's going to be any sympathy if, say, the Yamato destroys Planet Gamilas with the wave motion gun, which is what I was getting to, thinking what might happen. Mourn for the people of Gamilas. It's either going to be that or it's going to be an actual sympathy thing. where we find out what actually happened to Gamilas, and it's like not their fault and something has turned them into this, but I doubt that's where the show would go at this point. Yeah, I guess my anticipation is we're going to end season 1 getting back to Earth with the radiation thing, and that we're just going to fucking destroy Gamilas. Which, if Gamilas has conquered galaxies and, that giant map that we saw, cutting the head off the beast might just, make it impotent for, a long time. Although, on the other hand, I don't know what destroying Gamilas might do to Iskander if it's a dual orbit system. God, we already know that. We just saw the secondary bridge fall off. Yeah, that's what you said. I guess not for nothing. If it's corroding the ship so much that parts of the ship are just falling off, that would make the armor incredibly weak to being shot at. I mean, the rain can't be helping either, if it's the same stuff. March 27th. Double checking. March 27th. That doesn't fit into any of my days. Their numbers don't make any sense anymore. If it's been 51 days, and the last time that they gave us a date, they said it was February 27th. 51 days after February 27th is April 19th. I would say I don't think that's what happens to an old planet, but I'll be honest, I do not know anything about geology, other than little bits of tectonic shift and... I mean, legitimately, that should have probably been your plan from the very start, with all of the fleets and everything you've thrown at it. To be fair, it's the drink you drink all the time. It was so noteworthy. I actually had to tell my artist, hey, can you put some of that drink in my hand? I mean, it's not that dire if you've gone up to these quarters to have a talk with him. Battle of life and death, you'd think, would be moment to moment. Constantly sounds like glass is breaking in the background. Okay, so maybe they're not going to destroy Gamilas on purpose. I thought he was going to say, dive, go right straight down, and aim the wave motion gun at the core. I mean, to be fair, the third bridge fell off. Third bridge? That's the second bridge. Anyway, I mean, that thing fell off like in minutes. But maybe they're going to do this thing, and it's going to set off the entire planet into, like, apocalypse mode or something. So it's inadvertently going to cause the destruction of Gamilas. Also, not for nothing, if they're not doing the whole air bubble thing around the Yamato because of that shield, which it can't have done because the bridge fell off, and the wave motion gun's corridor is being flooded with the acid. Again, this is like already double to triple the time it took for the second bridge to fall off. Remember, last time we fired, first time we fired the wave motion gun, it went through a continent and kept going beam-wise. So I wouldn't suspect there would be anything really that could stop the wave motion gun, even though I recently just disputed in the comment the tachyons do not interact with normal matter. I think as a rule of thumb, anything that travels faster than light doesn't interact with normal matter. Tachyons, neutrinos, maybe baryons. I mean, maybe you should be rising to the surface now that you've accomplished your task, because otherwise you're still corroding. I mean, I guess technically this would be the only solution to the problem. You can't destroy the planet, it would screw up Iskander. But you could destroy the surface of the planet, which would solve your problem about the people on it. Oh yeah, thank God we had a building hanging from the ceiling. I guess if he wasn't driven mad before, certainly mad now. That's what I just said. I have to think if this scene is in the reboot, he's got to be like laughing maniacally, but also crying at the same time. If he is the guy I think he might be. I don't have a lot of faith in that given this version. But again, the AI told me that he was a do everything for Gamilas kind of guy. No spoilers, mind you, remember if you remember that episode where I explained why I was drawn as him in the art. I'm surprised you still have the emplacements to do it. Oh, okay, get ceiling mounted ones. We'd only seen the ground mounted ones before. So is Hisu going to... Okay.
まだお気づきになりませんか。大ガミラスといえども破れることはあったのです。これ以上の戦いはガミラスの自殺行為です。やめてください。そして遅まきながらヤマトとの和平を話し合いによる地球との
I don't know, this seems like it's impossible. I mean, it's a shame Hisu was talking a lot of sense, but I also think he was talking in possibilities. There's no way you're going to sign like a peace treaty with Earth at this point. Also, Gamilas is a intergalactic empire. Destroying its homeworld is certainly going to fucking hurt. But at the end of the day, it's got to have more people in space than we're ever on the planet. I mean, unless I'm completely mischaracterizing Gamilas in the same way that, like, the Bosnians from Voltace 5 were intergalactic conquerors and all they had was one planet at the end of the day. No, the beams turned green for some reason. I'd say they're running out of crew, but we actually never knew how many crew they had to begin with. Which is all the people we lost 2 episodes ago, and now all the people we're losing again. Be great if those were boarding pods. Guess not. Same explosion, just reversed. I'm surprised I never tried boarding Yamato. I guess they consider their weaponry so superior. And why wouldn't they? We saw episode 1. And essentially these are continent-sized shelves. According to what we saw about how this planet is worn down. Again, I went into this assuming that Gamilas was going to get destroyed, so any level of destruction that we see here that isn't fully planetary isn't going to be that much of a shocker to me. And again, we always have to consider what Gamilas did to Earth, so... At the end of the day, even though I'm constantly rooting against the Yamato for some godforsaken reason, this is revenge / justice. I guess we're not harmed by the sulfur-rich environment outside. Sorry, I know I'm laughing and smiling. One thing is obviously my curse, which is to say anybody I'm drawn as is typically die. So the moment I was drawn as Dessler, obviously I was going to die. But then I was like, oh, technically, did we really see him die? They could bring him back at any point in the future. But then the moment where everything fell on him, and then the building fell too, it's like, oh. It's essentially watching the car fall off the cliff. And be like, oh, he could have survived, and then the car explodes. Yes, Odakai's room there is just fine too. Okay, you're just assuming that this is the only city on Gamilas. I mean, possibly it could be. It's a dying planet. For all we know, Starsha is the only one living on Iskander. I have no reason to believe that this is all the Gamilas people. Wow, that's a deep statement right there.
小さい時から人と争って勝つことを教えられて育ってきた。学校に入る時も社会に出てからも人と競争し勝つことを要求される。しかし勝つ者がいれば負ける者もいるんだ。負けた者はどうなる？負けた者は幸せになる権利はないというのか。今日まで俺はそれを考えたことがなかった。俺は悲しい。それが悔しい。
I have no reason to believe that there's not Gamilas fleet mobilizing from different command sectors all over the place right now.
いずれにせよおしまいだったんだ。地球の人もガミラスの人も幸せに生きたいという気持ちに変わりはない。なのに我々は戦ってしまった。我々がしなければならなかったのは戦うことじゃない。愛し合うことだった。勝利か。それもくらい。
I mean, I appreciate the sentiment that's being given here. Wrong guy, considering what Kodai's been the entire show so far. And I just don't believe that this would come from any of the crew of the Yamato, considering what their loved ones are going through back on Earth. Especially after Domo used that as psychological warfare against them. What the fuck happened to your eyes? I guess unless that's meant to be his eyes are watering, but he's not crying.
古代みんなも無事だったか。さあ行くぞイスカンダルへ。全速発進。メインエンジンブロー。速前進上昇。
Again, the only element that brings me out of the aspect of believing that maybe there's more Gamilas people out there is the element that why didn't they migrate to any of the worlds that they claimed that they conquered? They didn't conquer any planets, and that Earth was the only place they could go. I guess that would make some sense, but they said they conquered a bunch of worlds. Domo won an entire warfront. They had so many fleets. Domo got a vacation fleet. They sent supplies back to Pluto base. There should be a Pluto base rebuilt by now, too.
Yamato no shogun.
大和の諸君、艦長を来たな。我々はついにイスカンダルへ来た。見たまえ。今諸君の目の前にイスカンダルがある。この機会に艦長として一言だけ諸君に申し上げたい。
ありがとう。以上だ。
I mean, if they're gonna go with the Gamilas is done thing, there's certainly not going to be anything left in the trek back home to stop them. Other than, you know, all the natural phenomenon that they came across. They certainly don't have the time to stop anymore. Technically, I think they also should have run out of food right now, too. I have to go back into my notes. They were certainly going to run out of food by the time they ran into Iskander.
放射能除去装置を受け取るのだ。地球の人々は君の帰りを、君の帰りだけを待っている。急げヤマトよ。
Instantly repaired
道は長い。
before they even left Gamilas.
と言われる日まであと161日。人類絶滅と言われる日まであと161日。
So that was what, 3 days? Instantly fully repaired in the ending cinematic. Alright, let's see if the subtitlers have anything of value to say. Last time they just said like 3 facts and not even 3 facts, 2 facts and one of them was a question. I bring my own questions. There it says March 27th, but it's actually April 28th. They consider the broadcasting date at March 16th, which is closer. April 28th. In episode 23, both Analyze and Dessler refer to the ocean as strong sulfurous acid, but in this episode it was changed to the sea of strong acid. Okay. Theirs is one off from mine. I said April 27th, they said 28th. Dessler moved from the palace to the command center. That Dessler, on the ceiling of crust, Starsha able to send her message during that time. Oh, I guess they're implying last episode when Starsha sent a message through the blocking, that the blocking may have stopped because Dessler was moving from one command center to the other. I don't know if that makes a lot of sense either. I'm much more agreeable with my number being only 1 day off from the editor's number. However, if you remember, I'm already in argument with the editor's number being off too, so because it's more likely to me that 26 episodes of counting how many days left, I may have just miscounted 1 day somewhere along. That's perfectly acceptable. No problem with that. It's when we get way off, you know, like April or February 27th, April 19th, those sorts of things. Yeah, like I said, I do not believe the message at the end was earned, only because it's given by Kodai. If Yuki had continued giving it herself instead of being like the damsel, but I can't believe what you've done. I do like the I can't face God. That's a pretty strong message. But Kodai, who's been we gotta fight them, they've gotta pay, etc., suddenly twisting. I mean, granted, he's seeing devastation on a civilization level. Maybe that could change him. I just don't see it happening within seconds, especially because he was eager to pull that trigger. I feel like somebody else should have done that. Somebody else who's been more level-headed as the show has gone on. Tokugawa, for example, could have been looking down the barrel of the wave motion gun at the very end, doing a "What have we done?" I don't know. I just also the element. I guess it's just an element of saving money in animation. That the final animation is the fully repaired Yamato going to Iskander. I understand the element. They've got a fabrication facility on the inside. It's entirely possible that given the amount of resources they could have collected on their way, that they could repair the entire ship just fine. I just do not think that given that that is the most damage we've ever seen the Yamato in, even more than 2 episodes ago, that, that wouldn't happen that fast. It took them 51 days to repair from 2 episodes ago. This is literally in the same episode. It's fine. But, that might just be nitpicking. I do that, though, so just take that for what it is. Well, either way, we are nearing the end pretty quick. I guess the plan is here. I have to assume that we're going to spend the next couple of episodes at Iskander getting the thing, learning something super important, and then the next whole season is going to be going back to Earth. But as been pointed out in at least one comment already, even if you've de-radiated the Earth, everything's fucked. You're not coming back. Especially not if you're taking this much time. Like, it's not like if there's 100 million people left when you left, and then you get back, it's not like everyone's gonna die in a year all at the same time. People are dying now, slowly over time. I don't even know what the time limit is. It's like, what? If you got back with 1 day left, there would be 1 person left on Earth? Also, not for nothing, when we eliminated the Pluto base, why didn't people, migrate to the moon? Right? Or the Mars base, where Kodai and Shima were before all of this. Migrate people off of the Earth to places where it isn't just killing them outright. Hell, I mean, technically, maybe migrate to the empty Pluto base before they came back, and then fight them off of the Pluto base. We could have survived. I really feel like we could have survived. Anyway, that's it. Those are my thoughts for this episode. So, once again, I have been Theta. This has been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video and what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?